What's going on, everybody? Anthony Campo here. I have another poem for you. I guess I've been feeling a little poetic. This one's called The One Man Band. So I'll let the intro roll, and I'll see you on the other side. The question is, what does it take to build a battle-ready business? What does it take to dial in your marketing, sales, fulfillment, and leadership so that you can go to war in the marketplace and win? My name is Anthony Campo, your host and chief coach at Battle Ready Business. This is the Be Battle Ready podcast, Daily Battle Edition. And on a daily basis, we're going to take a deep dive look at what it takes to win in the marketplace. So sit back, relax, and I'll see you on the other side. All right. So this poem is called The One Man Band. A little backstory. 2001, I found out my dad was sick and how this poem stuff came about. I found out my dad was sick, and for some reason, my expression of how to do things came out poetically. And it was my first instance into that. And all that. So here we go. There's a lesson behind this, all right? The One Man Band. The One Man Band, dude, I have the wrong one. Sorry. Let me back up. The One Man Band. It's the plan of the One Man Band to be as productive as he can. He plays the drums. He plays the guitar. He sings. He dances. He is the band. People look at him. People look and think, wow, he is the man. Yes, he is the man, and he is as productive as he can. But he'll never be the biggest band in the land because he can't see past being as productive as he can. Because he is just a one-man band. For this is the curse of the one-man band, is to be as productive as he can. And that's the sham of the one-man band. All right, so a little bit about... Let's go through this. Let's go backstory on what I was thinking with this, right? We live in a world of biohacking and productivity hacks and yada, 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 yada. And trust me, you need to be organized. You need to have everything dialed in. There is a framework where you can be as productive as you can. But I think the thought is, and the sentiment behind becoming biohacked and productivity hacks is, well, I am if I could do more, I could do more. And if you look at a yin and yang principle, that doesn't work, right? Do more to do more does not equal more. You have two halves of the same coin. So you cannot complete the coin. And it goes against every law of success prior to this, right? If you look at the successful, they're very productive, but at some point they leverage their productivity, they hit their own personal operational capacity, and then they had to step out and leverage other people's operational capacity so that their collective operational capacity is greater. So, it's an allure to be this superhero that can do all this stuff. And it's actually the sell of it. And, some biohacking has to do with, physical body and performance outside of productivity. But in this framework, I'm talking about productivity. Because, I've fed into that trap that I had to be more productive, that I had to do this, that I had to do that, that I had to And guess what the result was? Decreased productivity, decreased production, and decreased results. When I'm at my highest productivity, I am managing and leading other people. And I would have you consider that your desire to be more productive, to want to hack, mentally biohack, and productivity biohack is coming from a place of scarcity. And it's through scarcity you will not create what you're capable of creating. And that the only path to leverage and to grow a business beyond its current state, it has to get beyond you. Okay, and if you've been listening to my framework of what a battle-ready business is, there's 3 stages. And I'm actually going to reframe these stages into this, right? And to be relate to a battle-ready business, okay? So you could be a lone soldier or a leader of a small unit, right? And this is the business owner that maybe has a couple people. Maybe it's a solopreneur, but you know, a lot of everything feeds through that owner. Many, many years ago, a mentor told me that I was the bottleneck within my business. Okay? And I was like, oh, right? When I saw that, from that, when my mindset shifted, my sight shifted, my clarity came to be, and I said, oh yeah, and this is what it looks like. If you're in this stage, hey boss, or hey so-and-so, can we do this? Can we do that? Is this okay? Is that okay? These are all, if your staff is always coming to you for corrections, right? In the early stages when they're first learning something, that's fine. After it, and you don't have a process in place, you don't have processes in your marketing, in your sales, in your client, in your service, and in your leadership, like if you don't have these in place, you're going to be the bottleneck, and you're going to be limited to a level of growth, personal freedom. And in that stage, that solo, little unit commander or whatever it would be, that one person army, you're going to be limited to what you can produce. And you're basically in this situation where you own a job that you cannot quit, because the consequences of quitting could be devastating. It's not an absolute in every situation, but that's the framework of that. The next phase of this is like, maybe it's a battalion or whatever it is, and you have a team and all that, and it's great. And you don't, you're the top of that, and you run that, right? And you have a team that handles all your categories, but it's limited to maybe one location or a certain size, right? You cannot break that 20 people. You can't break over that next one where you're basically, if you walked away for a month, that top phase in the general of your own army is that if you just devise the strategic plan and point the direction of where we're going, and the army just moves. Boom. They're not waiting on you to market. They're not waiting on you to sell. They're not waiting on you to fulfill. They're not waiting on you to make sure that, everybody down, you have a leadership team in place. They're not waiting on you. You tell your leadership that this is where we're going, this is what we're doing, and it goes. All the playbooks are in place. They know how to execute and all that. So, let's break this down really quick and what meets this poem down and break apart these pieces a little bit. So, we talked about being productive as you can. Now, we look at the biggest bands in the land, right? I mean, I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was like, the one-man band. That's interesting. What's the most famous one-man band in the world? Like, and how does it compare to the most successful and famous band, musical group in the world? There's a huge gap. And yeah, the one-man band, if you're the one-man band, you know how to market, you know, you're thinking you need to go and study marketing and this and that and go like this deep dive into it and everything else. Maybe if you're the marketer within your company, but, you know, and then the sales and the fulfillment, the leadership, like all these different components, the accounting, the taxes, all this stuff. Like as a leader, you need to know this stuff enough to a point where you can have an intelligent conversation, let's say accounting and taxes, that you know that if you can have a conversation with your accountant and be on the same page and know exactly what they're talking about, not just saying, "Oh, I trust you." Or the other side of that is knowing so much, you might know more than your accountant. It's like, look, you've probably gone down a rabbit hole and not focusing on your business in the right amount of time, amount to actually lead your business. And it's great to be that person, to be able to jump into a marketing conversation, a sales conversation, all this stuff, but it could go too far and it could take you off track. And it says, you know, just like we talked about, never be the biggest band in the land. And the sham of productivity and increasing to this maximal point, like, it just doesn't work. Because us as humans, we need the balance in our life. We need to have a blend of different areas and stuff. And just doing work all the time isn't going to work. So that's my poem. That's my lesson for today. And I want to thank you, and I'll see you next time. This concludes another episode of the Be Battle Ready podcast, Daily Battle Edition. If you're a business owner with 3 to 20 people and you want to build a battle ready business so that you can go to war in the marketplace and win, head over to battlereadybusiness.com/go to get the conversation started. Other than that, I'll see you next time.